break of dawn, the HMCS Ottawa is greeting its crew. And there's a few new recruits on board.
Okay, good morning. We're going out with Vancouver to conduct the ORO course. Behind me are 7 officers, ORO students, officer officers. This is their final exam. So we'll be doing a lot of operational stuff this next couple of weeks. Gunnery, torpedoes, or fake torpedoes. Working with Vancouver. Everything you can think of we'll be doing.
Yes, over the next 3 days, this ship and its partner, the HMCS Vancouver, will see a lot of action. Its officers in training will be doing some sweating. What's more, the 7 hours on, 5 hours off schedule will deprive them of more than a few Z's. But the time has come. A real ship and real assets. After their time training on land, Lieutenant Perry Jakes is ready for the challenge.
Well, there's a lot of responsibility. When things are going well, it's great. Things aren't going well, yes, there is a lot of pressure. However, you got a big team around you, and if you utilize them efficiently, you can get over a lot of obstacles.
The OROs are learning how to coordinate a whole team of people, including a surface warfare controller, anti-sub controller, and a ship-to-air controller. These are the 3 SWICs who will report to the ORO on all enemy submarine, boat, and air activity, so he or she can decide what move to make. The ORO also coordinates with the officer on watch on the bridge, the person who's navigating and driving the ship. So the ORO is responsible for the ship's safety. If they pass, Lieutenant Perry Jakes and fellow trainee Lieutenant Todd Ring will be the captain's voice in the OPS room.
Well, the OROs are learning. I mean, it's a pretty intensive first week for them, learning a new ship, new people. The ORO is the leader of my warfare team. You've got to stress them to see what they're made of, but they're responsible for making sure that the ship is safe.
The pressure's on Lieutenants Jakes and Ring.
Anything can happen at any time. So obviously stress levels go up when you're tired, but that is part of the job, and that's what they're required to do, is manage that stress along with managing the program in the operations room. So how they handle that ultimately is where they pass or fail.
Will they be able to make the right decisions, get their commands across, and keep cool heads over the next few days? The first afternoon, they get some downtime to feel out their new equipment. A few simulated exercises to warm them up, and then the first visit from the air. Andre Lortie is an accomplished pilot and the director of Northern Lights, a team of acrobatic flyers with 50,000 hours of flight time between them. Founded in 1995, the Northern Lights are known all over the world for their daring air shows. But the business is seasonal, and with insurance costs skyrocketing after September 11th, Andre and his team had to turn to a brand new clientele in order to stay afloat. Today, they're getting to play the part of the bad guys in the Canadian Navy training exercises. They know the HMCS Ottawa and Vancouver are at sea just waiting for the Northern Lights to bear down on them. Their roles are multifaceted and flexible.
One day we can be an exocet, the other day we could be a harpoon, we could be a bomber, a fighter attacking the ship. And all we do is we give them different type of profiles. They tell us what profile to fly, and with this then they can train their operator.
Being himself an ex-Air Force CF-18 pilot, he knows naval air support, even in the case of student exercises, involves a great deal of preparation and safety measures.
The requirement here to do that type of job is low-level flying. You have to be able to do low-level flying without killing yourself.
We're at the very beginning of the training maneuvers that will last 3 days. This young American pilot sitting next to Andre is Mike Foyle. Andre hired Mike and his crew to pilot a Learjet that will take part in the very first training session. Last-minute preparations on the jet, and they're off. The Learjets will provide assistance so the ships can align their radars before the real work begins. Mike will fly the Learjet in a very precise pattern over the frigates. Back on the ship, our young hopefuls are getting ready. Are the naval crew thinking, here come the cowboys? They'll never say, but you have to admit the pilot's job has a few perks, and without the seasickness. Their target is on view. Diving to an altitude of 150 feet over the sea surface, Mike and the co-pilot are now aiming full speed at the ships. The students lock onto the planes to calibrate their radars. And they've got it. Now they will be able to pick up their enemies at any time, real or faked. The first round of training is finished for the pilots. Unlike the students of the HMCS Ottawa and Vancouver, Mike and the co-pilot will get a good night's rest. The Northern Lights' next mission is not scheduled until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then the tension will climb just a little bit, even for them. Day 2. Mike arrives early in the morning at the Shell Center to check his aircraft and the very special device that is attached to its wing.
Our assignment for the day, we're doing a towing mission. We're going to fly out about half an hour into a warning area, and we're going to tow some drones for a local Canadian ship so they can get target practice using their main guns.
The Learjet will be trawling a plastic replica of a cruise missile. The future Oros and their crews aboard the frigates will have to lock on this target and shoot at it, exactly as they would do in the case of a real threat. Flying with that piece of equipment gives an additional challenge to the pilots.
Having the tow reel on this side of the airplane makes a big difference. It's not just by the weight, it's also by the drag it creates. And there are various different things we have to fly in the airplane. One of the things we'll do is, as you can see with the truck in the background, we're fueling up right now. And we'll put less fuel in this wing. We'll make that wing a little bit heavier, so that balances out some of it. And then the drag created by the tow reel tends to pull the airplane off to the left, and we always have to use trim and other things in the airplane to counteract for that.
Live ammunition will be shot today, and even if the target will be over 4 kilometers behind the plane, all precautions must be taken in order to prevent any accident.
Every now and then it can get very exciting, but and this stuff is obviously very technical, and you have to be very careful. There's live ammo in the air, and that can make people a little bit nervous, so you always have to follow certain safety precautions, and especially now that you've told us that there's cadets on the ship, that really makes us.
The Canadian military's role is that of a peacekeeping force, so their moves are not offensive.
We always have self-defense, so if an airplane comes in, fires a missile, we take the missile. We don't fire at the airplane because we don't have the rules of engagement for that. So, but we always take down the missile, whatever is the threat.
And all moves are carried out under Captain Hendry's watchful eye.
The weapons systems that we work with can inflict a huge amount of damage. And before you use them, you want to make sure that it's safe. And that's the lion's share of the ORO's job in peacetime, is when we fire weapons, is to make sure that it's safe to fire them, so that aircraft like the Northern Lights aircraft are safe when we conduct live firings against their targets.
The planes arrive. Lieutenant Todd Ring gets first turn in the ORO seat. First, he has to make sure they carry out pack firing or pre-action calibration. This is to check everything is functioning. The last thing you want in combat is to have the enemy in your sights and your weapon doesn't work. The order of the chain of command is not quite under control yet.
Captain Sir, we have a clear range on the bearing of 210 for a 57mm PAC. Permission to carry out the PAC at 0800, sir.
Make sure the SWIC is aware, 8 o'clock.
Flash gear on everybody in house.
Put on your flash gear.
In order to prevent injuries from heat generated by explosions from ammunition, they don special protective gear. They look for their enemy, the Northern Lights.
Sir, we have comms with Northern Lights. She's currently off to the east, still feet dry, sir. Over.
But the pack exercise is not complete, and the planes are getting too close.
A system, engage!
Whoa. You're not enabled.
You're not enabled. You haven't got permission to fire yet. Okay. Let the switch do the drill.
The captain interrupts the exercise.
The captain wanted you to start again, basically from the top, starting the drill. You have to provide the SWIC with direction on his fighting net, okay? Not verbally, because the captain doesn't hear it.
Okay, SWIC Oro.
Switch.
Roger. Break the engagement, start the PAC drill over right from the start.
Finally, they've regrouped and are ready under Lieutenant Ring's command to start shooting at the target. The cruise missile coming their way.
I sure break engagement.
Gun, air, bearing 210, lane 2000. Height
Check, check, check.
All positions, combat. Check, check, check. The check fire has been called.
Big gun ready. Gun enabled. Gun ready. Come on. Shoot. Gun enabled. He's firing a big gun bang. On the bridge.
The target gets shot at with a few close misses, but without being actually hit. Their time is up, and the target operator engages the reeling system. But instead of returning to the tow reel claws, the rocket makes a wrong turn. In a second, what seemed to be a routine outing is now threatening to end in tragedy. Luckily, they land safely.
The mission itself went good at the end. We had the small problem, but it was no big deal, and took it back in, and now we'll be ready to go again in a couple hours.
Even though they didn't actually hit the target, the students receive points for how close they did get to it. The ORO on duty gives feedback to his two assistants and gets his own feedback from his captain. One more step on their way to becoming his weapons officers? Day 3 starts in the middle of the night for a 2nd Naval Air Support Team. This is the 19-wing Comox, the only Canadian Air Force base on the Pacific Coast. It is the home of the CP-140 Aurora, Canada's main asset in anti-submarine warfare. Primarily used as a maritime patrol anti-submarine warfare air fortress, the Aurora also serves during peacetime to locate drug smugglers, illegal fishing nets, and sea polluters. Tonight, the crew will fly to a precise sector over the ocean and then drop an EMAT, or Expandable Mobile Acoustic Target, a special drone that simulates a submarine. Its crew of 11 will then work hand in hand with Lieutenants Jakes and Ring to locate the sub.
We're going to basically follow through their direction to the best of our ability, regardless on whether we might have a different way of accomplishing the task. We're going to listen to what they have to say and give them an opportunity to learn from what their direction is.
The computers aboard the bulky aircraft may recall old sci-fi movies. But with its added technology, in conjunction with airborne electronic sensors, operator savoir-faire, the fleet of 5 in Comox still remain a major asset in submarine detection. Having once gone through similar training, Aurora pilot Lieutenant Trevor understands full well the state the students aboard the ship must be in at the moment.
The kind of test that they're undergoing right now is probably more sleep deprivation, so they're working almost 24 hours a day.
The Aurora takes off in the darkness of the night, through a pouring rain, leaving Comox, only to get back 10 long hours later. The final day will be a tough one on board the HMCS Ottawa.
We had some rough weather the first 36 hours. To work under the pressure of being seasick and everything else is a challenge. After a couple of days, they're starting to look at fatigue because they're not getting a lot of time to sleep. Reaction time gets a little bit slower, but part of the challenge of the ORO course is understanding what your limitations are and when you have to ask for help. It certainly allows the ORO an opportunity under a very controlled environment to say, well, I need some help on this one. I can't do it by myself.
And this morning, the students are not only responsible for coordinating the ship's efforts, they also have to guide 2 aircraft to their target. The Aurora crew make preparations in flight. The plane approaches its rendezvous off the coastline. It makes contact with its partners. The second air asset involved in this anti-sub exercise is the Sea King. The pilots leave their hangar at sea and get ready for the hunt. The ship will be the command platform. Will Ring and Jakes be able to control the situation, or will it control them? The Oro, Lieutenant Ring, is ready to give it a go. The ship gives the word for the Aurora crew to drop the bait, the expandable moving target that will act as the submarine. And the Sea King crew gets ready to drop a sonar buoy that will listen for the sub and send underwater sounds to onboard equipment. The Aurora gets ready to drop its own sonar buoy. In the real theater, the plane has the advantage of altitude to pick out periscopes by radar and visual means. And its crew works with the sonar buoys and magnetic detection equipment to detect and localize the sub. The Aurora is also immune to attack by submarine, but it's limited by its need to return to base to refuel. The helicopter has limited endurance and range, but it can hover, stay on top of the sub, and rearm and refuel from the HMCS Ottawa. The ship gets the submarine in its sights. They position themselves.
Roger, Papa 2, 3400, bearing 287, Ottawa, 10.5 thousand yards. Currently tracking 100 at speed 5. We are currently closing, recommend Papa 2, based on Stinger 3-1's classification.
The Sea King and Aurora close in with the help of the ship. Oro gets them ready and asks the captain for permission to act.
H-Spec, I just talked to Charlie X-Ray, making 3400 now, prop sub, and main body will be dispatched to the southwest. Subsurface threat warning is red. I request permission to conduct a deliberate attack. Over.
Roger, Stinger 3129, still both in contact. We are hot on our Serpent.
Oro, Roger. My intention is to stay outside of the TDA and maintain total rate contact as long as possible. Recommend your course and speed so that we can achieve this goal.
Oro, Bridge.
Oro.
Roger, Vancouver, Kilo visual, bearing and screen 45.
Roger.
The HMCS Ottawa locks in and launches a simulated torpedo. And it's a hit. After 4 hours hard work, the job is well done under the student's command. The Aurora crew head back to Comox. But the HMCS Ottawa can't relax just yet. Their most crucial test still lies ahead. First built in the 50s, the elegant single-seat Hawker Hunter served in 18 countries. The last active jets were retired by the Swiss Air Force in 1994. It is still a superbly performant jet fighter. For the purposes of the defense contract, Andre has hired 2 former CF-18 pilots, Steve Legasic and Pete Abbott. They are the cream of the crop in aviation. They combine military background and training with natural skills and fearless audacity. That gives them what it takes to fly the manned rockets that are jet fighters. At top speed, the pilot inside the Hawker Hunter cockpit can be exposed to forces up to 7 Gs.
Well, the easiest way to explain it is like you feel 7 times heavier than you really are. 7 times the force of gravity, but really it's just like being super duper squished into the bottom of your seat.
The acrobatic duo heads out to perform an air attack simulation on the 2 frigates. As always, 95% of the Oro's job will be teamwork and getting the right information to the commanding officer, the captain. The pilots locate the ships. The aircraft is ordered in on the closing profile.
New air unknown, 034, 45.6 miles.
The target is acquired.
In position at 49 to 16 north, 126 at 35 west. This is a Canadian warship at 341. You are closing my position on a heading of 199, a speed 500 knots. To avoid any misunderstanding, I request information about your intentions. Over.
War cries commence, coordinating the teams in their response.
Inside missile release range. I'm at 35 miles offset on the 150.
Vancouver's reading wording 3 to those 2 then now? Okay, good. Let me know what happens.
Exit at reckon 6 miles. Vancouver has exit locked on.
Sounds like that's going to be a Suez.
Permissives are sought from the captain to engage. They've lost the other ship, the HMCS Vancouver, but carry on.
High 2, strength 2, threatening Ottawa.
Here they come. The ship's crew don't actually shoot live ammunition, but they do get to practice tracking the attacking jets with their guns.
Roger, we're going to come right to 270. We are going to go inside and attack.
Target is engaged. This is what it would look like with live ammunition.
Oh, gun air.
Ace has been killed.
Zaz, break engage.
When we finish this run, I want you to thank Northern Lights for staying with us for their last run. That enabled us to get all our students through.
8 missiles remaining.
The ship's team is debriefed. Because it's an exercise, they each get to try this one a few times. Then the fighters head back to base. Ships are high-endurance, powerful, flexible weapons. But if they go it on their own and come across a sub, it's tantamount to wading into a school of sharks with a wooden club. Aircraft like the Aurora and Sea King are surgical, adaptable, and highly maneuverable, but cannot remain on station for long periods of time. In modern warfare and peacekeeping missions, sometime rivals, the Navy and the Air Force, work hand in hand in order to do their job.
Coming up next on Discovery Wings, gear up for a ride on the cutting edge of aviation as we take you for a look at the future of flight technology and space travel. Stay tuned for Aerospace, next on Discovery Wings.